Hello everyone, it's Harshit from Lovely Professional University, Phagwara, Punjab, and we are on a series to learn Python. And till end of the series, we will make sure that we all can understand the concept of Python, such as object-oriented programming, loops, and everything like that. But before all those concepts, there comes some similar concepts, some basic concepts of this. And in this lecture, we will be covering the parts of match case, we will complete the nested ifs and we will complete the basic parts of loops. So for before all that, we will be revising what we have done in the previous lecture. So in the previous lecture, we guys have actually learned we guys have actually learned conditional statements that if, else, else if. So if all of us remember their syntaxes, it's well and good. But if you guys are not aware of those syntaxes or if you guys forgot those syntaxes, let me just let me just put them let me just put them there so so that we all must have an actually we all will be on same ground, we will be working on the same ground. So this is the syntax of if statement, where if this is the keyword and this little thing, it's the condition, and this is the statement which passes when the condition gets true. So this was the syntax of our if condition. Then there comes our else and else if. So for that else and elif part, let me just paste those statements also. So this is the elif, this is the elif, and if syntax is elif keyword, then there is this condition, then there is this statement, okay? And this if both of these conditions gets false, then the statement third, which falls under the else block, actually executes. This was the basic fundamentals of the conditional statement. But now we will be working with nested if statements. So for that nested if statements, let's just take some examples. Okay, that but all before those examples, let me just tell you why do we actually need the nested if part. For that nested if part, suppose we are creating a login system. Okay, so can I write if username correct login? No. You know why? Because we also need to check the password. So when I'm going to check the password of that, it will also require another confirmation from my side. Okay, so that's where the nested if part actually comes. Okay, so when the nested if part comes, so the logic actually becomes that first, our code will check username. Then, if it's correct, then it will go to the password and it will check the password. If the password is also correct, then it will lead to the login. Okay, so this is what we call nesting. Okay, okay, guys. So now, what is nested if? So its basic fundamental definition is if a statement is an if statement written inside another if statement, it's known as nested if statement. Okay, so the syntax for this nested if statement is actually, let me try. The syntax of this nested if statement is if condition, then colon, then again if condition, condition number two, then statement. Okay, so when this is when we will have this kind of code written, it falls under the category of nested ifs. So what is happening here is in what's happening here is that This if block, this if block will execute first. This condition will be checked first. If this condition gets true, the variable or whatever we are passing through will move to this condition. Now, if this condition is true, then the statement will pass by. So, but with the example of a login system, if we will go, then it's more similar that if this condition if the username and this condition 2 is the password, so if username is correct, then it will go to the password. If the password is also correct, then it will lead to the alert message which will be showing login successfully or gained access successfully. So this is what actually our nested if part is. Okay, so outer if controls the first condition and second if inner if controls the another condition. Okay, so if I'll just go with an example, So now, what can be the example there? So for this if statement, we can actually have an example for age, for that age part. So now for that age part, let me just declare my variable age equals to 18. And we will check if a person is a adult or a senior citizen. Okay. So we will write if A is greater than or equals to 18. Okay. Then again this condition. If A is less than or equals to 65, then the statement will be print adult. You know, now if I'll run this, I'll get my output as adult. Now what's happening here is the first condition will be saying that age should be greater than or equals to 18. The age must be greater than or equals to 18. And the second condition is saying that is actually saying that the age must be less than or equal to 65. So that's what is happening here. So now if I just understand this in a simple language, then I must say that when both conditions when both conditions are true, then my statement will actually execute. Now if I go for nested if with input, so let's just take an example of getting a driving license. So for having a driving license, we will just go with the age first, then we will go with the then we will have our person's eligibility of driving. Sorry guys. Then we will check the eligibility for a person to drive car. Then we will have a type of driver. Then we will get our statements. Okay. So let's just write. Sorry guys. So let's just write. If my person's age is 18, if age is greater than 18, I'll I'll again check if the person is greater than 65 too. So if the person is greater than 65 again, then I'll be writing senior driver. See, else, now I'll put an else block here. Else print we will else we will print eligible for license. Eligible for license. So when I'll be writing this, okay. So when I'll be writing this, what's happening here is our first condition will be executed, will be checked once, and our second condition will be checked after the first condition gets true. Then our statement will be go to. If our second condition gets failed, then our else block will execute. And if our first condition is not getting through, then we will put an else block also, print not eligible. Okay. And I'll just write age equals to int input int input enter log age. So when I'll execute this program, now it will my code will ask me to enter my age. So I'll just enter my age as 42. Okay, okay. Okay. Now I will tell my age. My age is 45. Let's just say so. It will say eligible for license. So what's actually happening here is When I'm writing age equals to and input, my age is being stored in the variable age. Then my first conditional statement, which is if, it will first check if the age is greater than 18. So yeah, it's greater than 18. Then it will pass through to this part and it will now check if the age is actually greater than 65. No, the age is not greater than 65. So this print statement here gets ignored by the system and this else block actually executes. And if let's just say my age is 18, then it will say yes, eligible for life because we have put uh, greater than or equals to it here. But if I just write my age as 15, it will directly say no, not eligible. That's what happens here. See, that's how our nested ifs actually work. You know, working with these nested ifs, it's very much easier. So now let's just understand what nested if and logical operators together can do. Just like we saw here, with the help of logical operators, we did the not with the logical, but the comparison operators, we did the age check. But when we will be using the logical operators, which we actually used in our previous lecture, which were and or, in using those operators, we actually discarded the usage of nested if parts. So if I just say, if I just check that for these two conditions, I can actually write just one thing. If age is greater than equals to 18 and age is less than equals to 65, 65, then we will also have our output as enter your age 52 eligible for license. Why? Because now it will check for the range. If age is greater than or equal to 18, yes, it's greater. If the age is less than 65, yes, it's less. It's less. That's why we got our eligible for license. So we can do this code with the help of logical operators also. So, there are multiple ways of doing a single code. So both can work, but let me just tell you one thing. You can use nested if you have dependent decisions. And second condition only matters after the first condition happens. That's where we are using nested if parts. Okay. After that, let's just check for a real world program. Okay. For ATM login system. Okay. When we are going for that ATM login system, we will require two things. First, we will check the pin. Second, if the pin is correct, we will check the balance. Okay, guys. So let me just write the code here. So when I'm writing the code, it will be it will be written as we will be just checking the pins here. So it will be pin equals to INT input, then enter your pin. Okay. So now let's just say my pin is 1234 and I have a balance of 5,000 rupees. So I'll just put balance as 5,000, pin is equal to what? 1234. So now if I'll check my pin, if pin is equal to 1234, print, what we can print here. You know, we are using a nested if loop. So we will be doing, if the pin is correct, then we will go towards the balance part. So Now, if I now we will print, now we will check if again we will check one more thing. If balance, if bal is greater than, okay, it is 15, then uh, we will just we will just put a withdrawal. Okay, we will just have a withdrawal from our account. Okay, so now let's just create another variable which will be amount equals to int input enter enter okay. So now we will use another if. Okay, so here if amount greater than equal to val print insufficient balance else print withdrawal else we will print the withdrawal successful. Okay, so for success then we will do resistance else root else print in amount I'll run my pin. It will ask me enter my pin. So I'll just put my pin 123. Now it will ask me enter an amount. I'll say 4,050 rupees. Withdrawal success. So what happened here is first it asked my pin. My pin was correct. So now it asked my amount to withdraw. So I have entered my amount which I want to withdraw. Then it asked then it checked if the amount to withdrawing is actually greater or less than balance. So it is less than balance. So this if statement gets ignored by system and this else block actually gets passed, which says withdraw success. That's what's happening in our code right now. So see, this was very easier part of if nested if part. Okay, so this was very much easier thing. Okay, it's not that much hard. Now I'll give you people an exam. I'll not an example, but an assignment for your home that you guys can do. So you guys must you guys must create a program which checks scholarship eligibility. For the scholarship eligibility exam, for that eligibility program, you guys must check two factors. One, student must have marks above 80. Second, family income must be below 5 lakh. So when you guys will be checking this, the outputs must be if the income is less than 5 lakhs, the output must be scholarship approved. Else, you can in the else block put whatever statement is visible with your requirement. If the income part is not satisfied, you can put income criteria not satisfied. Otherwise, if the marks are less than 80, then you can write marks criteria not satisfied. Just do it like that. Okay. So now let's just see another program on nested if for shopping discounts where we will check if the person has purchased for more than 5,000 rupees then customer have a membership. Okay, so we will just go we will see now. So now here I'll just try ENT equal to INT input enter your shopping amount. Then we will check. Then I'll just go for the. Then I'll just go to check if the person is member. So member equals to input. Okay. Are you a member? Okay. So now my system will check. We will write the loop if statements if AMC is greater than equal to 5,000. Then again we'll write if number is equal to yes. If number is equal to yes, print print eligible for discount. Okay. Else else then not not eligible. Okay. Now for this if log this will be working for both. Okay. Okay. Now this will be working for the both if statement. So now if I'll run it, enter a shopping amount. My amount is, let's just say, let me put some other space right here. Make this one N as capital. So now if I'll run this again, enter a shopping amount. My amount is 85,000. Okay. Now I'll run it. Enter. Are you a member? I'll just say yes. I'll say yes. Eligible for discount. See, this is what another question of if else nested if looks like. So I am hoping that you guys actually have got a broader idea for this. So if you guys any got any issues doing the nested if part, please comment down below. I'll check on your problems again. There's no such thing that if you guys haven't got an issue, you can actually text me on comments. Okay, I'll just reply you. So now there will be some practice problems for you. First, you guys will create a login system. Second, you guys will create an electricity bill system. The rules are if units are less than 100, it's free. If units are greater than 100, then you have to pay the bill. Similar. Okay. So easy. Third, bank loan eligibility system. In this system, you guys will be checking if the age is greater than 21 and the salary is greater than 40,000 per month. Okay. So these are your assignments. So please check these assignments here. So after this, we will just move towards our math case part. Okay. For that math case part, let's just understand. Math case is more similar to if-else statements. Okay. So when those if-else statements are there, okay. So what we will actually see is the if-else statements are more similar to math case, but math cases are also known as menu-driven programs, in which we will have a menu, and on the basis of that menu, we will write a program which will be actually using the math case part of that also. So there are two there are two things in math case. First is math, another is case, and the third thing which is most basic is the default case. So now from this part of this lecture, we will be getting the knowledge of why we need menu-driven programs, what's the difference between if, elif, else, and match case, what's the syntax of match case, what's the default case using, which is also known as underscore, and we will be build some real world menu programs such as ATM simulation and a calculator project. Okay. Now let me just ask one thing to you. Okay, guys, whenever we are on in an ATM or whenever we are selecting anything in our games, okay, let's just let's just say we are playing GTA. Okay, so in GTA there are in GTA 5, let's just say we are playing GTA 5. So when we are switching characters between three characters, okay, Trevor, Trevor Franklin, and Michael. So sometimes there are some points when if I'm trying to switch my character from Franklin to Trevor, it shows that the character cannot be switched. The character is in use. Okay. Or whenever I'm doing anything in the game, so there is a menu of everything. Okay. If I'm going into a if I'm going into a shop, if I'm going into any locker, I have to put some passwords there. Okay. Or for that password part, we got to show a menu. Okay. For that menu part, we guys are actually seeing that what are the things which we can do on the basis of our actions or on the basis of our choices. So that's where the match case actually comes. This example for those Gen Zs or for those youngsters who are actually of my age who are playing games. But let's just move towards now for some elder peoples who are actually trying to understand or who are actually here to study more or if you guys are an older person than me and if you guys are learning from my videos, then guys, thank you and salute to you that you guys are actually studying in this age also, because you guys are actually the proof that age doesn't matter for studying. There's no such age for study. You guys can actually study in any age. So for for a more formal example, we can take the example of an ATM machine. When we are in an ATM machine, the first step we are doing after inserting a card is we will be putting our we will be getting a menu which will be saying that check balance, withdraw money, deposit money, or exit. These four options are most basic which are there. Okay, so the ATM doesn't ask us endless questions. It gives us choice which are being performed by the ATM on the basis of our selections. So these types of programs are known as menu-driven programs. So today we will learn what are the menu-driven programs in Python, which are also known as match case statements. Okay. So till now, till now, at this point of this lecture, we have learned the if, nested if, else, and nested if else statements. Okay. So now let's just see what a match case actually is. So match case is actually a decision making statement which is used to compare a value with multiple possible patterns. So that's what match case is. So for simple explanation, this was the formal definition, but for its simple definition, it's like choosing one option from many choices. That's what match case is. So for that match case part, we got a syntax also. So for that syntax, let me just paste that syntax because I have written that in advance. Okay, so this is the statement of a match case. Okay, here it is a variable. Okay, and this value one will be compared by a variable. This value two will be also compared by our variable, and this little underscore right here, it's the default case which will be giving us a default statement. So that's how we will actually do the match case parts. Okay, so now in the match case, it contains two things, match and case. Okay, so the match case thing is first match. The value we want to check will consider in the match part. In the case is the possible options we will be seeing. Okay, and there will be a default case which works like else. So for our first example, let's just take an example of days of a week that we will be taking an input from the user of a numerical input, and we will be giving him the day of the week which he wants to know that what day of the week is that. If I'll only know that today is the third day of week, but which day is it? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we will create a program for that. So we will put a equals to int input, enter a number. Okay, So now match variable, we will put the variable as A. Now case value will be 1, our statement will be, okay, let me just, let me just put multiple cursors here so that I'll now write string. Now we can write, oh, okay, so wait, let me just, let me just remove the statement part here. This, okay. Now I can write my print part here, print bracket column. Now we will write our statements. Okay, so it's for day one, it's Monday. For it's Tuesday. For three, it's Wednesday. For three, it's Wednesday, and then for four, it's Thursday. So now we will go for the default part. No, number. No, okay. So now if I'll run this program right here, it will ask me to enter a number. If I'll write one, it will give me the date, Monday. So what's happening here is, for the moment I have got a value for my variable A, now this match says that the value of A must be compared to all the cases, and whichever case goes pass passes through it, then we will execute the statement. That's what match case actually is. Match case actually is. So now, for if when I have written the value of A as 1, this case has passed. So the print statement right here, it actually passed this. Okay, so it has shown Monday. But if I'll just put a number which is not there, which is 6, it will say number is invalid. So this was our else part also. So this is how our match cases actually work. So now we can actually do another thing, multiple value in one case. Okay, so for that we will be using our operators, okay, and there will be or operator in that. This sign, this little sign which I just wrote, is the signature sign, is the sign of or operator. Okay, now I'll write, okay, now I'll just write, we will check if the number is ranging from, is coming in what range. Okay, so and from, so see, here our cases will be checked multiple. Okay, so now if I'll just run this code, it says enter a number, I'll enter my number as 2. So it is say number is from 1 to 3. You know what happens here is, now the value of A will be compared to this, this. If any one of these three is true, this statement will be passed. Similar with this, and the default statement is like this. So that's how we can check multiple cases with one match. Okay, if I'll just run it again and I'll enter a number 10, number is 10 or 2. That's how we are actually, this is our default case. Okay, so that's how we can actually use multiple values in one case. Okay, so now we have done multiple values in one case. Now let's just understand what's the major difference between match case and if-elif, and where do we use which one. So now for that part, let me just tell you one thing. Whether if-elif, it works with conditions. That's the most basic syntax, and these are more flexible, and as well as these supports ranges. But in the match case part, it works with fixed values. Number one. Number two, it's cleaner for menus. If a menu is there and you will be writing the if else, it will be more complex, and the more complex the code is, the lesser marks you are getting in the exam. Okay? But you will get marks, but the teacher will actually see your code. It's harder to understand, so the teacher will also be like, okay, I'm not understanding it, so let's just get an average score to him. But even if your code is 100% correct, okay, so that's the problem. But match case, it's easier and cleaner for menu questions. And third, match cases better for choices, not for ranges. You can't put ranges in match cases, okay? So we can use if-elif when we are working with ranges or working with conditions, and we can use match cases we are working with fixed values and better choices. Okay, so for an example, for marks distribution, we can actually use if-elif, but for menu menu type workings, we will be using match case. Okay, so now let's just create one program which is menu driven calculator. Okay, so for that menu driven calculator, I'll just take two numbers from the user, and on the basis of the user's input of the choice, we will have we we will be having the addition, subtraction, multiplication of those numbers. Okay, so A is our first number. Okay, then B is equal to int input. I'll just write again. Enter num2. I'll enter num1. Okay, so now I'll write CH will be defined as choices. Okay, int input. And let's just do one thing. Let's just make these two as float. Okay, this will help. Now I will put the menu right here. Okay, so print one addition. Okay, so then we put the column. So, okay, addition. Okay, then I will type that some multiplication, not closing the six. Then we put print. Okay, now we turn on the cap lock. And then I will go with this. I can try sub subtraction. We can for the third we can write for the third point we can write multiplication. For the fourth we will be having division. Okay, these are choices. Now For the math case part. For the math case part, I have written that math case part before. So I'll just paste that part here, right here in front of you guys. So that now this will be our math case. Okay. So for that choice, I'll just remove that choice from the CS. Okay. So now see what's happening here is when our in when our input from the user is one, we will do the addition part. When our input is two, we will do subtraction. When our input is three, we will do the aspect sign, which is multiplication. And when the input is four, we will do the division. And if there is no such input but from these menus, the output will be invalid. So that's what we will try to do. So enter number one. I'll put number one as 14.5. Enter number two. I'll put number two as 22.7. In choice. Okay, so I have done a mistake without my menu from. Let's just move my choice from here to here. And I'll just maybe enter number 14, 22.7. Now I have got a menu. So now I have got a menu. So it asks me enter choice. So my choice is one. Okay. So when my choice is one, okay, I have written it as number one. Let me just change here as number one. And then change here as number. Or that means run the code into the number. Let's just make it more neat here. Yeah, make it more neat. Number one is 14. Number is 22.7. Addition, I'll do. Okay. So my output is 36.6. So what happened here is, according to my choice, it has selected the operation, and with that operation, it actually executed that case's statement. That's what happening in this calculator program. So you guys must do this program with your systems also, so that you guys will be having the knowledge of this. Now, for you people, I'll be giving you one assignment. First one assignment is that you guys must do an ATM simulation. That you guys must check the balance. You guys will be having the menu. Okay, for that menu part, give you. I'll just tell you what that menu part will be for you people. Menu part will be this: first check balance, second withdraw, third deposit, and fourth bill. Okay. On the basis of these, write a match case from my match case statements and use all the four menus. Okay, one by one. Okay, so you will be having when you guys do this, you guys will be actually clear the concept of match case. Okay, so now here in this we will combine the match case, variable, input operators, and if statements. Okay, so this will show you how concepts are actually connecting. Okay, now for every choice of mine, it will actually show something. Okay, so now we will be moving towards our another another part. We will move towards loop. So when we are talking about loops are something which actually helps us to ease our working when there are multiple things. When I have to do same task repetitively. So that's where the looping comes. Okay, so before that loop, let me just give you a problem. Okay, I'll say write numbers from 1 to 10 in separate lines. So you'll be saying that, okay, Harshit, we will do that. We will do that very easily. You can write 10 print statements. Okay, it's easy. Now I'll say write from 1 to 50. Some people will hesitate. Some people will also write 50 lines of code. Then I'll say you to write from 1 to 1000. Now it's a bigger number. You can't write a code of 1000 lines. That's where looping actually comes. For that looping act, for that loop, for that we are using loops. So the loop will do the repetitive task, but for different things, for different. Every time we can change its value. So that's where the looping actually comes. Okay. So now for a quick recap of the previous works, we have actually covered nested if, okay, match cases where match cases can actually be used, loop where nested ifs can be used. Okay. So let's just let's just have some MCQs. Okay. So I'll just ask you one MCQ, one quick MCQ. Which keyword is used for multiple conditions? A loop, if, switch, repeat. Comment down your answers, guys. If you got the correct answer, I like your comment. Okay. So now for a loop, its formal definition is a loop is a programming structure that actually represents a block of code multiple times until a condition becomes false. Okay. It will run until a condition becomes false. So let's just see a real life example. So the real life example is, let's just imagine writing attendance for 100 students. So we will write without loop, we will be writing 100 lines. But with loop, we can actually make that code shrink to 2 to 3 or 4 lines only. There are multiple types of loops. Okay, first one is for loop, second one is while loop. When we are using the for loop is mainly used when we know the number of repetitions or when we know the number of starting and end point. Okay, if I'll separate numbers from 1 to 10, we know the number of repetitions. Okay, so that's where we will be using for loop. But when we will be using the while loop, it's used when repetition actually depends on condition. That means when the condition is there, when the condition is actually, while loop will actually run until the condition is true, whereas for loop will run where we know the number of repetitions or iterations. Okay, so now for the for loop, there is there is this syntax which says you have to write the for keyword. Okay, after that keyword, you will be write the variable. Then we will check in the iteration in sequence and code. Okay, now I'll just write statement. Okay, this is the syntax of my for loop. Okay, so now for this, let's just let's just do the program which I actually asked you to do, that write numbers from 1 to 1000 or 1 to 100. Okay, so for that our loop will be, this is the syntax. Okay, so now we will just create a variable a is equals to 1. Okay, now I'll just write for I in range. Okay, this is our syntax for I in range. Then I'll write a comma 50, and I'll just put a column here. I'll just put a column here, and I'll write print 5, and I'll just run the code. See, I've got my output as 1 to 50. See, there is one more thing. In our loop, the iteration goes from the base, from the lower limit to 1 minus higher limit, 1 minus upper limit. That if my lower limit is n and my upper limit is z, then my iteration will go from n to z minus 1. That's why we have got a 49 here. So when I want them to be 50, I'll just write a 51 and I'll run this code. So I'll have 1 to 50. So that's how loops actually work. So now this is working till I is in the range of A to 51. That's how this loop is actually working. This is what for loop is. Okay. So in Python, this is our for loop. This will be using this we will be using when we know the iterations or we know the number of repetitions. Now we will go for the while loop. When I move towards my while loop, it has the syntax as while statement. Okay, it will have the statement as while keyword. Okay, then we will check the condition, then we will write the statement. That's only as while loop syntaxes. Okay. So if now here we will be doing the incrementation. Incrementation and decrementation is increment is adding something and decrementation is decreasing something. So now let's just write a code where we will be writing numbers from 1 to 10 using a while loop. So I have my number as a is equals to 1. Okay. While I is less as this is 11, while I is less than a. Okay. Again, I 5 plus equals to 1. Okay. This is what implementation actually is, and we will be using it. Okay, all around our while loop. Okay, mean I is not okay. So yeah, in while loop we also have to define I also. So I will write I equals to 0. Okay, now see, this is what our while loop looks like. So that's while loop is working until this condition I is less than a is true, the while loop is working. The moment this condition gets false, the while loop breaks. And this I I plus equals to 1 is actually the incrementation part. It actually increments the value of I. Every time the code executes after this print statement, the value of I will be incremented by 1. So at start, the value of I is 0, so it is printed 0. After that, the after that 0 plus 1 is 1. So here 1 is less than 11. So now we have printed 1. After that 2, 3, 4. At the end we will go to the 10, 10 where while I is 10. So 10 is less than a, it will print I. Now I is I I 10 plus 1 is equal to 11. Now when I value of I is 11, 11 is not less than a, that's where the loop stops. So that's how what our actually loop while loop is. There are three important parts in the looping part. First part is initialization, second is condition, and third is updation. In these three are mandatory in while loop, whereas the updation part is not important in the for loop. Okay? So now your homework is you guys must print numbers from 1 to 100, okay, at once. Second, you guys will be printing all the odd numbers between the range from 1 to 50. And third is print your name 10 times. And fourth, print the sum of 10 numbers. Okay. So now, okay, not don't do the print the sum of the 10 numbers. I'll just tell you that before. But before that, let me just tell you how can we actually get all the even numbers or odd numbers. Okay. So for that we will be doing that with for loop. Okay. So for let's just take a is equals to 1. Okay, we will initialize it as 1. Okay. So now for I percentage by 2 for I in range bracket from 1 to 10. I'll do the even part and you guys will do the odd part. Okay. For I in range A to 11. Okay, column if I percentage by 2 is equals to 0. Okay, so 5 percentage by 2 is equal to 0. Then we will write print I. Okay, and then if now if I'll run my code, See, I've got my output as 24686. So now what happened here is we have we have actually defined the variable a here. Okay, here a is 1. So now for I in range a to 11. So here the I is re-initialized in for loop as I is equal to 0. So I is found in the range from a to 11. Okay, now if I percentage by 2. There is no other way you can identify an even number without using an if statement. So here you can if statement if I percentage by 2 is equals to 0. The logic behind this equals percentage by 2 equals to 0 is that whenever you divide a number from 2, the remainder is always 0. If I'm dividing 4 divided by 2, my remainder is 0. Okay, there is no remainder out there. So that's why if I percentage by 2 is equals to 0, print I. That's that's where this I comes. Now this is using the for loop. We can do the same using the while loop. For that while loop, I'll just do one thing. Let's just print. Let's just initializer I now. Now I is 1. Okay. While I is less than 11. Okay. While I is less than 11, print I then I plus equals to 1. Okay. Now see, it is in the similar work where I is less than 11. 11 is the upper limit. Okay. I is less than 11. It will go check this, print this. Now it will do the incrementation part here. I plus equals to 1. This is the incrementation part. In the while loop, you have to do the implementation part by your own. By your own. Okay. If I'll not do the implementation part, my loop will not continue after one single iteration, which will be looking like. See, now it's an infinite loop. Okay. But now if I'll write I plus equals to 1, um, this will be actually, it will be actually iterate to all the till the end. Okay. So this is my, this is actually infinite loop right now. So now for now with that while loop we have done. Okay. So now after that while loop there is this thing. Okay, known as okay, so known as while loop, using while loop and using for loop. You will be seeing this in many of your questions. Okay, so for this part we will do one thing. Okay, for this we will first train ourselves with the for loop and then we will go towards the while. Okay, so your homework is now print all the even numbers from 1 to 20 using for loop. Okay, then print all the odd numbers from 1 to 20 using for loop. Print your name 10 times using for loop and print the sum print the sum of numbers from 1 to 10 using for loop. I'll be printing the sum of the numbers from 1 to 5, or I'll just do this from 1 to 10. You guys will try it from 1 to the number you can take from number you will take from user. Okay, so let me just initialize a equals to 10, or even if I'll not initialize a equals to 10 for I in range. Okay, and 0 to 11. Okay, then now a is equals to a is equals we will have to initialize our variable a is equals to 0. Okay, so that now here I'll just put a plus equals to I, then print a. Okay, this will give me the sum of all numbers from 1 to 10, but we have to get the sum of all even. Okay, so let's just first check this code. Okay, what is this? Okay, I have written this print a here. So it will print every time it will proceed to next iteration. But if I'll just move my print to here, if I'll just move my print to right here, it will actually give me that's the sum of all numbers from 0 to 10. So what happens here is in our for loop, I will go from 0 to 11. Okay, first we will have I, then for I, our value of a is 0. So we have initialized a is equal to a. In a, we have added the value of I first, then our code will execute again, then again and again and again until I is 11. If I is 11, it will not go with that, and it will actually break the code, and we will have a print statement. So this is for simple numbers. Now if I'll just try to have even numbers, I'll just put the condition of even numbers. If I percentage by 2 is equal to 0, okay, then then you have then we will be having this. If I just print it out, it's 30. See, this is where we can actually get the sum from 0 to 10 of all even numbers. What are my even numbers from 0 to 10? It's 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so the the output is 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 also. 10 is also an even number, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So that's how I am getting 30. So your assignment is you guys will for do it for the sum of all odd numbers from 0 to 20. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. That's all for today's video. Please make sure to like, subscribe to the channel. If you guys got any issues, got any problems, or got any issues in the codes, you guys can write the codes down there in the comment section. I'll be correcting you guys. And if you guys got any understanding issues, you guys can also text me in the comments. I'll be replying to you. Till then, I'll be seeing you in the comments, guys. Bye bye. Please do the coding part here, and please do the practice problems as it will build your problem solving mind also. So till then, goodbye. See you. Take care.
वीडियोस बनाने हैं, फिल्मोरा है ना।